Mr. Osita Okechukwu and Shield Nwazurua, who are still with us in the studio. Just before we went on break, Mr. Okechukwu, you were trying to defend why the situation of the Dapchi girls, mirroring what happened in 2014 with the Chibok girls, was able to happen again.
What I said earlier is that I know that Mr. President is trying to deploy critical communications. Because if you have critical communications on the ground...
He was trying to deploy critical communications in Dapchi?
No, throughout the whole country. I don't want to go into details about that. But what I'm trying to say is that, as Ajuri said, I'm not here to defend the fact that federal character principle should be violated in any way in appointing of security chiefs. Or to say that I'm happy that one of my brothers is not heading any of the agencies. I cannot say so. But what I'm saying is that is not exactly the problem on the ground. There was a time we were Chief of Army Staff, General Ejika. There was still insecurity in the country. So we're trying to look at the long span solutions because it's been done in certain countries of the world. We're trying to learn from them. But the Nigerian people should be patient with us. That the solution cannot just be in the month's time. We also have to within the neighborhood, try to reach the security agencies around us because there's an instruction for rapid response wherever you are, whether you are the DPO with your own squad, whether you are the army, whether you are the Nigerian Civil Defense, not trying to break down the command and control, but trying to allow for rapid response. But these are issues, as I said, that the government officials or whoever that comes from the level of the government who is not trying to profile or harvest from the crisis on the ground. But if you look backwards and ask yourself, the genesis of the crisis on the Nigerian table is because our economy was raped.
Director General, I'm going to come in because very quickly, you know, when you talk about rapid response, for example, the issue would come up about competency, the issue of capacity of those who are in charge of the fight against all sorts of violence breaking out in the country. Now, at what point, in your estimation, do you think it is condonation? Because when you have continued results, when you have continued killings, continued violence, despite whatever strategies are said to be put in place, at what point does the commander-in-chief say, "Look, you're not cutting it, and we need this organization or this institution to sit up. Therefore, you're relieved of your duties. We're going to find somebody who is more capable and to get those results." What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that there's too much complacency in view of a history whereby officials are just not let go, or if they're supposed to be let go, it's just long delays, as we saw in the case of the former SGF, for example?
That's what I'm saying. That we're trying to look at a critical communication. We're at the dashboard. You know what is going on in New Gap. You know what is going on in Damaturu. At the same point, within the dashboard of the security network, so that there will be cohesion. Because if you start talking about dismissal, where do you start from? Do you start from the point that a DPO that is in charge of a given division, something happens there, you sack them, the next day it happens the other way, you sack? So we're trying to do a coordination of all the security agencies, both civil defense, Nigerian police, Department of Security Service, the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian Navy, all, so that they could talk from one voice. And one alert a second, everybody is in the know of what is going on.
Let's quickly bring in Shield here. Let me ask you, do you think that we sufficiently comprehend what the problem is? Mr. Okechukwu believes that all of this has its roots in the rape of the economy. But, you know, for you, what do you think the problem is?
You know, this government, I think they are confused, terribly confused. Because what is the correlation between the alleged rape of the economy and schoolgirls being kidnapped? What's the correlation? And earthmen going around the country butchering people? Is it because they haven't lost closed ones? Because I don't see.
No, I think you should stay with the question. We can talk about what the government is doing and what it's not doing. But for you, do you think that as a Nigerian, as you know, whether or not you're a member of the opposition, do you think the average Nigerian understands what is going on? What the problem is?
We don't.
Do you think we should be concerned about it?
Because if we did, if we actually understand what is actually going on, we will be on the street.
What is going on from your own?
What is going on is that we have a government who is playing politics with security.
How do you mean playing politics?
He asked him a question, that why do we still have the same heads of government after several years, and then you keep having insecurity recurring and recurring? It's simple. In management, it's simple. If you don't, by the time you relieve one of his position, the person who is coming understands why that one had to go. And is more fired. But in this, like I said earlier on, our men on the ground, where this insecurity is actually happening, they are confused because they are getting the wrong signal from the top.
Let me ask you then, do you think that the president's visit, I mean, he's visited Taraba and he's visited Yobe already, he's visiting Benue today. Do you think the president's visit would do much to, you know, calm the people down and also send that message to the security agencies, if that was what we were waiting for?
Which visit? The man is on campaign visit. Which visit? He went to Taraba and told them. He didn't even go to visit the people who lost their loved ones. He went to the government house and told the security, the traditional rulers, that they should go and sort the insecurity in their domains. After studying security report for 3 months, that was what he came up with.
So for you, the
man is just on jamboree. It's not. I don't see any
It's a jamboree.
Well,
I think that this conversation will stay on the front burner. We have to thank you, gentlemen, for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning. We've been speaking with Osita Okechukwu, who is the Director General of the Voice of Nigeria, and Shield Henry Wazirua, who is the National Coordinator of the PDP Good Governance Group. Our Sunrise Daily will continue in just a moment. Please stay with us.